Okay, folks. I'm Nathan Askew, owner of Bullet Safaris and Iowa Trophy Hunts, and I am a professional hunter in Africa. I have a lot of experience with these larger calibers, and what we're going to do here is shoot several different makes and models of some double barrel rifles, some large caliber double barrel backup rifles. So I've got three different makes and models. One's going to be a Chapuis, one's going to be a Merkel, and one is going to be a Heim. Yeah, you'd think I could remember that. Anyway, three very good rifles, three very common rifles. Common for large caliber stopping rifles, not common for what you're going to find at your everyday hunting and outdoor store in southern Missouri, which is where we're located right now. Anyway, before we do that, I want to show some of the ammunition that we're going to shoot through these guns. You can get a bunch of different types of ammunition, and there's all these different companies, and they all make something that they claim is different. I know what has worked in the past. I have some new things I want to try out. But yeah, we'll see some penetration test. We'll see some damage that these bullets do, and just kind of this is not going to be a scientific analysis. This is something just so y'all can get a little information about the guns and get a little information about the ammo available. So anyway, to start off, I'm going to go with probably my favorite go-to, used for 15 or 20 years I've used these bullets, and that's Barnes. So Barnes makes two types of large caliber projectiles. The first one is my favorite. This is a Barnes monolithic solid. It is a flat nose bullet. It is machined out of one piece of top secret super alloy or whatever it is. It's a very, very hard bullet. It has a lot of frontal surface area. It provides good knockdown power. It penetrates well. You would think a sharp bullet like a missile would penetrate better, but the problem is those things get in between the muscle fibers, and those sharp points can fishtail. They can deform easier. This flat top solid penetrates in a straight line, has a huge amount of knockdown, and it does exactly what a guy wants for a backup rifle. So once again, we're talking 470. This is a Barnes monolithic solid, and that's the first one. It's one of my favorites. Because we're on Barnes, I'll pull out the next one, which really I don't use very much, because in the early days I had a pressure problem, and these didn't want to eject very well. This is what's known as their TSX. It's an expanding bullet. Once again, it's a monolithic, no lead constructed bullet. Great for a client's first shot on buffalo out of any caliber. Any large caliber. They fixed the expansion problems in the early days of this bullet. There were some problems with it. In fact, one of them almost got me killed by a buffalo. But now I find them to be one of the most reliable, best bullets out there for all calibers, whether it's a backup caliber for the professional hunter or the hunting caliber for the client. This TSX is a great bullet. Once again, that's what it is. I don't use them because I don't use them that much for my purpose out of a 470. A 470 is a stopping caliber. It's a backup caliber. It's carried by me. It's not a really effective hunting tool. It's an effective, oh shit, we have a problem tool. So anyway, all right. Now, we've got these Nosler bullets. Nosler is obviously a very good brand. This is the old packaging, which was much nicer. Now they sell them in boxes of 10. This plastic box is a piece of junk. What I find in these is they've got a sharper point, but still a flat nose. Once again, that's like a carpenter's nail. You know, like a finishing nail for a carpenter is blunt, so it goes straight through and doesn't fishtail in the wood or the fine piece of trim. And it's the same concept with these flat nose bullets. Once again, 500 grain. Everything we're talking about is 500 grain out of a 470. These have nickel plated cases. The other ones were brass. I see no real difference for my use. What I do find out of these is a little less felt recoil. I don't know if they're loaded slower or what the deal is, but I do feel less recoil out of this projectile. So maybe we'll get a chronograph and see what's going on here. But these have a little less punch to them. All right, so those. Now, for blowing up things and shooting at the range and cheap target practice, you can't beat a Hornady. For hunting, you can beat a Hornady large caliber. They're not any good. Don't bring them on safari. You'll be disappointed. The soft bullet, which is this one here, yeah, that's a soft lead core 500 grain, what they call a DGX. I find this bullet to be very fragile. It doesn't penetrate well. It expands too fast. These are the cheapest bullet that we'll shoot out of these guns for the sake of this little video and experiment. But these are bad for hunting. Don't trust your buffalo or your safety to one of these bullets. They also make a solid bullet called a DGS. Once again, it's the same construction, a little more rounded of a point, but still it's a lead core solid. I've had them deform. I don't like them. I do not use them for anything except target practice. Nothing against Hornady. They have some good products out there, but for large caliber stopping cartridges and or dangerous game hunting rounds, this is not what you need to bring to Africa. Now we're on to something that's a little bit new to me, and that's these North Fork line of ammunition. So, to start out with the North Fork, this is their flat nose solid. This bullet is also machined out of one piece of alloy metal. It has a little longer point, but the surface area of the tip is very similar to this Barnes monolithic solid, which is in my left hand. That's a Barnes, and this is the North Fork. So you can see the surface area of the point. It's very similar. The Barnes monolithic may have it by a bit, but I see a very similar construction, and I know from talking to both manufacturers and both people that to me they seem like a very similar bullet. I can't say for the metallurgy or the actual compound that they machine these out of, but they seem to be very similar. They both have good reports. I know this one is great. I'm going to test this one this year. Very good reports in the field from this one. So that's a North Fork solid. Then they have something that's kind of a cool deal, if I can find it. This is also a North Fork bullet. Now this is what they call a cupped solid. So you can see that's a concave hole in the tip of that projectile. Once again, 500 grain bullet. And what's going on here is very similar to the design of well, I think Federal had it was Federal, and they had a thing called a Hydra-Shock bullet, which is this one right here. This has a plastic tip on it. But if you would pop this tip off, which sometimes they come off in the field, you would see that it has a concave front to the bullet. Now what's going on there is that concave tip produces a wave of energy which explodes shells and damages tissue as it pushes through the animal. So this could be used out of a very large caliber for your first bullet. Instead of an expanding bullet, you could have this cupped solid, which does a couple different things. It will not expand to the diameter that, like a Swift A-frame or this triple shock bullet, which is an expandable soft point / expandable bullet. It's not going to expand to that radius, but it still does a lot more damage than just a solid bullet flying through the animal. All these projectiles have their application. The last one, which I'm interested to try out this year, is this lead core bonded expanding bullet from North Fork. I believe this to be very similar to a Swift A-frame. I think the Swift A-frame has a lower division of the lead core, and I don't know which one is faster expanding or slower expanding, but these are reliable, controlled expansion soft point bullets. This would be a great first bullet to use on a buffalo. I wish I had their, they make another one that's even faster expanding. That would be great for lion or follow up on leopard. Unfortunately, they could not get those to me in time, so I don't have those to test. But this is kind of a go-to first bullet out of a hunting rifle, and or if you wanted to use an expandable bullet out of your backup rifle for whatever reason, maybe in your first barrel. I don't know. I don't ever do that. I usually load all solids, because if things get out of control, then you need that solid bullet in there for straight line penetration, because if you miss the brain, maybe you hit the shoulder, maybe you hit the spine. If you miss all those things and that big bullet is still going, maybe it'll break a hip and save the day by dumb luck. And maybe not, then of course you have the second barrel. But anyway, that is what we've got. These bullets range in value from, I'd say, about $14 to $20 per shot, and we're going to blow through some of that money and ammunition, and then we're going to test a handful of other rifles. So stick around. I'll have the rifles on the next video. We'll go through all those, and then we'll start shooting.